What's up, y'all? Welcome to Icing the Puck. We are back after what? Feels like a week. I don't know.
It has been a whole week.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
back on kind of normal schedule here. Busy guys. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Work. Never
Yep.
stops.
That's what happens
Jordan?
when you get the weird work schedules, man. It interferes with our ability to podcast.
Yeah, I guess that answers my question with how are you doing? Busy.
Yeah. I mean, luckily I can watch, it's a little bit easier to watch hockey, but, nobody worked to bother me. But, man, it's been rough.
And it's
But
getting to the point where there's less hockey to watch. A little bittersweet because it's more intense hockey as we get to the end of the Stanley Cup playoffs. But y'all, there's less hockey, and it's always a rough road when we don't have as much to watch. But
yeah, it always feels like there's like a week in between games now.
yeah, for real. Even just that 2 days or like a day, every other day at this point, it's like,
Yep.
what's going on? But before we get into these playoff series, we got a couple little things that we want to report on, I guess you could say. I'll go ahead and start us off. Congrats to Matthew Schaefer winning the Calder Trophy. I think all of us knew that Schaefer was going to win the Calder Trophy. Bursted out onto the scene this year, man. Turned the New York Islanders into a team that just barely missed the playoffs, a team that was honestly a force for most of the year. And let's be honest, it was centered around him, Matthew Schaefer. I mean, he is the face of the franchise, you could say now, at only 18 years old. Jordan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it was deserved. I mean, he's had an amazing season. I think we talked about it throughout the year. Made them fun to watch again.
Yeah.
Made them fun to watch, and that alone, says a lot about him as a player. And I mean, all of the statistics and points and all that stuff are added to that. It was a clear winner, I think. I mean, it was the first unanimous winner too, wasn't he? Or one of the, let's say, in a long time.
Yeah, in a while. A defenseman having 23 goals as a rookie is just absolutely insane. And, we've had this talk multiple times about how a lot of defensemen just play offense nowadays. But Schaefer, I don't think so. He had a lot of good defensive play as well. And you could see even early on, I mean, this everybody said about him all year is that for an 18-year-old, he plays like a seasoned vet. And you love to see that. And I think, we're probably going to see Norris trophies from this kid as the years go on.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a crazy matchup when it's between Schaefer and Hudson for like a Norris trophy.
Yep.
That's going to be a hard choice right there.
Yep. And
yeah.
Lane Hudson won Calder last year. Mm-hmm. I was reading something, once again, kind of to what you're saying. First time back-to-back defensemen have won a Calder in a long time.
That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, but those two were clearly like the front runners the entire season. There's been some other seasons where, it's been kind of a mix up and you're not sure. And, you could see it going any direction. Those two were the clear winners both years.
Well, last year, remember, there's that whole argument between Dustin Wolf.
That's true.
And,
that's true.
And Hudson, that was the big deal last year. I think you and I even were pining for Dustin Wolf to win it last year a little bit just because of being a goalie and how tough it is and all that.
Yeah. That would have been awesome. I know why he didn't, but also I would have absolutely been okay if he did. But as far as you look at it, like, I think Hudson was the better choice for sure. Yeah. But also, I think it was more of just like wishful thinking on mine and your part with Dustin Wolf. But.
And this year was more of a runaway. Like Beckett Seneca was kind of the runner-up a little bit. He's had a hell of a season. I mean, he's helped Anaheim get to where they got this year. Yeah, Schaefer, clear-cut winner. I mean, just absolute all-star, and hey, let's hope he makes Team Canada next run around. Maybe they would have won if he was there, but
maybe, yeah.
We'll keep bringing that up.
Yeah, he wouldn't have gotten cooked by like Cale Makar did by that was Jack Hughes.
Yeah. But next piece of news, small news: Charlie Coyle and the Columbus Blue Jackets, another team that just barely missed, so sad, but 6 years, $36 million, $6 million a year. And Coyle, I mean, I believe he had a career high season in points. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it was,
but,
yeah.
Or just one of his best seasons that he's had in a while. He was traded to Columbus from your Colorado Avalanche.
I know. Yeah, Colorado Avalanche legend, Charlie Coyle.
All I remember is McKinnon screaming at him in the playoffs last year in the Dallas series. Was that was enough for him to
Yeah, it's
get
because
moved over to Columbus.
dude did not show up.
No, and that's what Colorado wanted from him. But hey, you know what? He's shown up for the Jackets, man. And I mean, that's what Jackets fans can ask for. I think this is a good signing overall. I like the low AAV. He'll probably most likely end his career in Columbus. And what a good veteran to have is probably an alternate captain in the future. And, as they're trying to build this new younger team, keep a veteran, a guy who can play in the bottom six.
Yeah, I mean, I really did like him in Colorado. He just didn't quite fit.
Not fast enough. Can't keep up.
Yeah, but in Columbus, I mean, he's definitely found a place there. And yeah, he definitely is. Yeah, I mean, I could see him staying there for the rest of his career, obviously. I mean, 6 more years, that'll put him at
37 years old?
Something like that.
He's like early 30s.
40.
He's older than I thought.
Yeah, he's 34. Yeah, it'll make him it'll put him at 40. So I mean, unless for some reason they trade him, but I mean, I could definitely see him. Yeah, I mean, and he is a good fit there. And that team they've been right there the past 2 seasons.
Constantly right there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and
just get one more superstar player, man, because the goaltending picked it up this year. Werenski's like an all-star. Like, let's get it going. Marchenko kind of took a dive this year, man. Kirill Marchenko after a big year 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, Columbus.
They're right there, man. I think that Columbus is,
same.
We
love the cannon.
I know. I'm just saying that because I want to go shoot the cannon, but whatever. They don't need to know that.
We'll make our way out to Columbus one day. What else is there to do in Columbus? Like, we're big eaters, we usually go places based on the dish.
Isn't there a museum there? Or is that Cincinnati? No. In Columbus, isn't there? I feel like there's a big music museum there. Is it like one of the music things?
The only thing I know about Ohio is that Canton has the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but I don't know what's in Columbus.
It's in Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland, Ohio has the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. For some reason. It's like, man, guys, we're going to put the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Cleveland, Ohio, the home of rock and roll, I don't know.
I guess so. I mean, Ohio's like one of the most non-famous states that is famous for some reason. Not trying to hate on Ohio, but I'm just saying, I don't really know what, I've heard it's supposed to be boring, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't know. We'll never get free Blue Jackets tickets if I keep saying stuff like that. So
no, we're big Columbus guys. We like Columbus.
We are. All right, we'll move on from that. Next piece of news. Bruce Cassidy, who, as Jordan explained to me before the episode started, was fired by the Golden Knights, but his contract was not terminated, so he's still getting paid. They have barred him from interviewing with Edmonton. So just a fun little thing. And does that mean that Vegas is scared of Edmonton?
No, I think that just means they don't like Bruce Cassidy.
Maybe so.
Because there's zero reason to. I mean, obviously they're not confident in his abilities. That's why they got rid of him.
Yeah.
And I think it's also just kind of messing with these other teams too. It's why would you do that for them? Why give them it's if you have the opportunity to say, no, we're not going to let you interview them. Why would you? Why would you be yeah, we'll waive it for you? I mean, I know other teams have in the past, but I mean, I kind of get it. It is a little messed up, but also, I mean, that's part of the deal. That's part of the contract.
Hey, he's on to Toronto at this point. Let's be honest.
They'll probably block him too. And I don't think he can. I think they have to waive his contract in order for him to sign with the team. I think he's under contract until next year.
And this is something that you talked about. Something had to have happened with that organization and Bruce Cassidy. It's something very personal, because this is you don't hear about stuff like this very often, of a team, making sure that a guy doesn't get a job. That is very, very interesting. So
yeah, I mean, it's definitely something going on behind the scenes. He must have done something to make somebody mad, or maybe just, honestly, it could have been something as simple as standing up for himself, and defending himself against the team when they were saying, trying to blame everything on him, so
yeah,
who knows? Yeah. But it is a little. It's a little messed up, but at the same time, I kind of get it I kind of get it as well. But it's probably going to be that way with any team that he tries to go interview, unless they're just doing it because they're in the same division.
And you would hope that it's just that, because the guy does deserve a job. But I mean, we'll see if this saga continues, but it
Yeah.
is just
And
one little thing.
we'll see, because if he tries to interview with the Leafs after what's his name, Berube, now that he's gone, we'll see.
Yeah, should be interesting.
No, they didn't. They haven't signed a new coach. They signed the Leafs signed like 2.
They got a new GM, John Chaika.
Yeah, well, then they get a GM, and then they have dual presidents of hockey.
Yeah, they're switching things up over there.
They're brothers, aren't they?
I think so. I don't know. I'm not sure, but
as soon as you get into some of those admin and those kind of positions, I always forget who's who, and it's like the main two I think about are going to be the coach and then like the GM. That's the main two that I always look at when it comes to. Although some teams do have some very very famous former players as their president of hockey operations.
Very true. Seems to be working out. Maybe other teams should do the same.
Yeah. Having players that actually played the game run the teams.
Yeah.
They kind of know what they're doing. Kind of know what they're talking about when they talk about hockey.
It seemed to be.
But
the next piece of news, keep it on the Vegas train here. Tortorella and the team fined $100,000, lose their second round pick.
I think it was Tortorella himself was fined $100,000.
And then the team loses their second round pick.
In this year's draft.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this, man? We're talking about this for an episode. We're saying
I've never seen that happen. I know is a thing that can happen. I've never seen it or seen it enforced or whatever. Also, do we know why they didn't do any media? I'm really confused.
There hasn't really been a reason that's come out, and
it was after they won a game too.
Yeah, so Tortorella is we know this. He's very famous for being controversial. He is a guy who has cussed at the media. He has yelled at the media. He's not a very media friendly coach.
I did read that this fine now puts him over $500,000 in.
He's got to have set the record
for media related stuff.
He's got to have set the record.
Yeah, I think he has the most. Unless there's some obscure coach from back in the 80s or whatever that just unloaded.
I'm gonna say it if it's for team specific reasons, I gain a little more respect for Torts because maybe the guys are just trying to lock it in. We don't want to talk to anybody. We're locked in. We're on to Colorado. We need to focus up.
Well, this was before that. This was before they won the series, wasn't it?
Was it, or was it this last game?
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was their last game. No, it was their last game that they played in.
That's right. So it was before the clinching game. So they'd won.
It was
clinching, one getting into position to clinch the series.
It was after
game 4. No,
was it game 4?
Game 5.
Whatever. But it was and what was weird is the players came out and it was Mitch Marner and who else came out? I forget who it was. And they sat down and they're like, hey, we got to keep this quick. They're going to leave without us, basically. If we're not at the bus on time, they're leaving without us.
That's what I'm saying. Torts was lock it in.
Yeah, but why? That was so weird.
I don't know, man. Maybe he thought Anaheim was going to beat them, which.
No, man. I think it's just some more power trip, crybaby shit. I think it's I don't want to talk to the media. I'm in charge. It's my decision. Whatever.
Bro, your team plays them now and you're just already on the hating track now.
Yeah, I mean, another waste of a playoff spot. They're about to lose in 4 games.
I think it's going to go to 6.
No.
I think 6.
No way. No.
I don't know. You might be right. 4 or 5, because the way that this playoff has gone, there's opposite of last year.
There's no overtime points.
Yeah, which Vegas had to win in overtime most of this series. We can roll in now. Roll in. We're back to playoff talk, guys. Vegas defeats the Anaheim Ducks in 6. Vegas, obviously, the Pacific Division champions. Anaheim was right behind them the whole year. Yeah, champions. But beat them in 6. This was, in my opinion, it was a hard-fought series by both teams, especially that last game. Anaheim really was clawing to win and keep themselves in it. But, Vegas comes up with that 5-1 victory. The score isn't, like I said, Anaheim was fighting that game. It just got a little out of hand at the end.
Yeah, I think we talked about it. I think we're talking about it in that game. It's the kind of the inexperience and the youth of that team kind of showed a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
And the more so, not even necessarily the actual play experience, just the actual Stanley Cup playoff experience.
Yes.
That Vegas has helped them through that. Because I mean, it's an intense play style of hockey, and Anaheim those players are not used to that. So
yeah, and this series was almost like Wild West shootout for the first couple games, and then Vegas like really started playing tight defensively the last 2 games, and locked this thing up. Carter Hart started playing really well too. The goaltending was a big factor in this. Dostal started falling off, and Anaheim doesn't really have a very good backup goalie. Ville Husso, I believe, is their backup goalie.
Yeah.
I don't know. Things just got out of hand. And like you said, it is the playoff experience for Anaheim that really bit them in the butt, towards the end of this thing. But yeah, Vegas on to play your Avs in the conference final.
Yeah. Not everybody's aware. This is still a Minnesota hater podcast, but is now also a Vegas hater podcast. Here we go.
For you.
Here we go with the bandwagon fan over here. Your true colors are showing. I remember when you used to be a Vegas fan.
Well, back to old habits. Back to old habits. This is a friendly little competition here on Icing the Puck.
Damn, you're gonna have to watch another team of yours lose.
Now, I'll be honest with y'all. I have a problem, and I hope Sam listens to this episode. I have a very serious problem where I'm too nice. I'm too nice of a guy. When it comes to sports, sometimes I could be a jerk, but when it comes to sports, I'm too nice. Usually most guys are I'm just going to hate my boys' team, I don't want them to win because it's sports. But for me, I'm I want my boys' teams to win. I'm a nice guy. I'm turning that around this year. Okay. I'm a Dallas fan at heart. I can't have the Avs go to the Cup. Are you kidding me? I can't let that happen. So
you'd rather the worst thing ever for hockey to happen and have Vegas go back to the Cup.
What can I say? I'm putting all my chips down on black and not red. Like that hat you're wearing.
Dude, that's insane. Who are you going to root for in the Cup final if it's Vegas? If Vegas versus Carolina?
What do you mean?
Lose situation.
My Montreal Canadiens are going to the Cup.
That's right. That's true. Yeah, the Canes are about to get swept. They're talking about oh, we haven't lost a game yet, and they're about to lose 4 in a row.
The Canes are going to lose a couple games, 4 to be exact. But no, I don't know. At the East, it's a little weird, but we'll stay in the West right now. So yeah, previewing the Avs versus the Knights. If I'm being realistic, the Avs are going to win this series. I think they're leaps and bounds ahead of Vegas when it comes to skill. The goaltending is light years ahead, compared to Vegas. I think Vegas has to play more defensive hockey because we know Colorado is going to hound the net with shots. Okay. And that has been Vegas's detriment. I mean, Carter Hart is bound to let a couple in if you really let him, if you hammer him enough. And the defense hasn't been as good this year. Let's be honest, Vegas has relied on their scoring and kind of just withstanding teams until overtime for 3-on-3, but that doesn't exist anymore, So I think this is going to be difficult for Vegas, but I think, skill-wise, I think they could hang in there and maybe win 2 games just because it's the conference final. They've been to the Cup. They're going to find a way.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I have to be realistic and say, yes, they might potentially win a game, but fundamentally, Vegas is not a good team.
Yeah. I mean, compared to Colorado, yes.
I think that they're completely outclassed by Colorado. I don't care how much biased you think that this is a take of it, this as a take. If you look at it, Vegas is outclassed by Colorado in almost every metric.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I would not disagree with you.
Yeah.
I would not disagree. The one thing I would say that I think Vegas might have a slight edge on, maybe, just maybe, or at least can compete with Colorado, is physicality and staying in the game. These games could be close even if Vegas gets swept or wins 1. I think every game is going, not every game, but majority of the games will be close.
Vegas definitely does have the ability to, keep themselves in games. Yes, I get what you're saying. Yeah. And it could be, but at the end of the day, it's win or not. I mean, that's the only way.
Yeah.
True. And they consistently this year have found a way to tie games and ultimately not win them. And that's how they got to the position where they are. If that wasn't a thing, it's not in playoff hockey, they wouldn't have been even a playoff team.
Yeah.
So, that's where it comes down to. Yes, they are a little bit more physical in a sense, but it's hard to hit players that are way faster than you are. And, you can't hit a player that's not not where, they were 2 seconds ago.
In
So,
Vegas, if they have any hope of winning this series, they have to have the bottom 6 step up a little bit, because like this series against Anaheim, their top 6 guys came to play. Mitch Marner, my gosh, dude, we totally found out he was not the problem in Toronto. I mean, Toronto was the problem with him in the playoffs. Maybe they were limiting him, because this brother had 13 points in this series or something.
I think he leads the playoffs right now in points.
Yeah.
So,
and Eichel had 11 points this series. Like,
yeah,
and
they
gotta get the bottom
that's
6.
That's the issue with Vegas. Like, Vegas has players that I really like. Vegas is just, as a team, I don't like Vegas.
They're Vegas.
It's Vegas.
But before we leave the West, one thing we should talk about, I feel like, for maybe just a minute here, where do the Wild go from here? I think, you have that great series against Dallas. You show that you're what should be a top contender after adding Hughes and all the pieces.
Yeah.
Just to get destroyed by Colorado.
I think that the thing that the series against Colorado exposed with the Wild is that they really, really lacked depth. Because the biggest excuse that I've seen online of everybody talking about it was they're missing Eriksson Ek and they're missing Brodin.
Yeah.
And if those 2 guys are missing and your team falls apart, then you don't have a good team. You have you have 2 good players. And again, like, I get it. Like, obviously, like, yeah, you have to have your good players on your team, but also a lot of the rest of their team, they have a top 2 defensive pairing in the league, which is true. 3 of the other 4 are at best like call-up guys from the AHL. Like, most of them probably should not be full roster members.
They have a lot of veterans. Like, obviously, you have Bogosian and Spurgeon. Spurgeon's your captain.
Who?
But both Jared Spurgeon.
Who?
But, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, both of these, like, the veteran defensemen that they have kind of, like, they're coming towards the tail end of their careers.
I do know, and I hate to say it, because I like his brother, because he plays for Colorado. Middleton, dude's gone. He was on the ice for like 80% of the goals.
Well, that's another thing, is they claim that these guys have been hurt. Like, the whole team is banged up. But how many teams can make this excuse?
If your team can't function, like, if your guys are hurt and they're having to play through like really, really bad injuries in order to maintain a team, you don't have a well put together team. Versus like, if you have guys, like, you can sit guys who are who are some of your best players and still win games, stuff like that. Like, Colorado didn't have that as much, but they had a couple guys out and they still won. It's like, it just, I think Minnesota has, like, the top half of their team is really good and is scary good, but it's the bottom half that they need to improve on. And that's the thing, that they spend all their money on the top.
They had to get rid of that bottom to get Hughes. They got rid of Rossi, Boyum, other guys. Like,
I do have to say as well, man, I think we can say it comfortably, Kaprizov was a huge overpay.
Yeah, I mean, dude had almost 50 goals in the regular season, and he's kind of, he was there in the Dallas series. He was playing hard, and Colorado series just left. He disappeared, and it's like...
Unless he has, like, I haven't seen anything specifically about it, unless he had some, like a really, really bad injury, too, that was preventing him from playing his best, which again, they're playing some, I get it. Like, people, they do play through injury. Like, every team does it.
Of course.
Every team does it. That's not what I'm saying. Like, you should never play through an injury or whatever. But also, like, if you have to play through an injury, so your team is not like severely crippled, you need some work. You need to do some roster building there. But also, he could have been injured in a way that, like, something with his wrist. Dude did not shoot the puck at all.
Yeah,
like, at all.
Yeah.
So, in the last game, the elimination game, they should have been going all out. He had 0 shots on goal.
It's rough.
That's $17 million for 0 shots on goal.
I'm really interested to see what they do in the offseason, because obviously they're going to want to extend Hughes, and you already gave all that money to Kaprizov, and the cap is going up by $8.5 million, but like, the money has to be spread out if you want to stay in this winning position. And if it's all just on Hughes and Kaprizov, and then Matt Boldy is going to get, like, I mean,
because they have one more season of Hughes. Of half his salary, because what's it called, retain half.
Yes.
The Canucks,
but then you have to extend him.
Exactly. Like, so at that time, when they have to extend him, they'll have to pay his full salary and Kaprizov's and Boldy
and Eriksson Ek.
Yep.
and
and whoever else they add potentially.
And then Gustafson's getting paid his 8 something, and then it's going to be another Boston situation here soon. Are you going to choose Gustafson or Wallstedt?
Apparently they tried to. Did you see that? They tried to trade Wallstedt at the deadline. But
I'm not gonna lie. I think after this playoff, Gustafson might be an Oiler, and Wallstedt might be the guy. Like, for real.
Oilers don't have enough money.
They'll figure. Trust me, they're gonna figure it out. They know they have to at this point. So
what if
McDavid's not gonna be?
But what if Bouchard becomes a wild,
bro? They take on his contract. I don't think they could do that. Like,
I was gonna say, even if they try to trade. They tried to trade Nurse. They can't afford him either.
Nurse at half retained.
Nurse makes more money than Bouchard.
No, not anymore.
No, they make the same. They're both 10.5. They're both 10.5.
No, Nurse makes 9.5. I think he makes 9.
Was he? I thought he was 10.5.
If Nurse makes 10.5, Edmonton might be the most delusional organization.
I'm pretty sure he makes,
because Bouchard makes 10.5. I think 10 or 10.5. But Nurse makes 9.5. I'm 99% sure.
Nurse makes 9.25.
Okay, all right, but that is ridiculous. Nurse. Okay, so Gustafson for Nurse and draft compensation with half retained for Nurse. That's gonna be the deal. Watch.
That's crazy.
That'd be crazy.
We just talked about they have bad defensive depth and they want to add Nurse. Dude, that's crazy.
I mean,
for what? Why would you give up? They could get way more for Gustafson from any other team, from so many other teams.
Edmonton is going to send the house for Gustafson. Watch. Okay.
So no, they're not. Sorry, no, they're not, dude. They don't think like that. They don't think like that.
Edmonton is either going to get Gustafson or they're going to sign Bobrovsky to a 1 year.
Dude.
Telling you. But, okay. No more Edmonton. We have to talk about the playoffs. Okay.
Bobrovsky's like, if you can beat him, join him.
Maybe I can help them win.
Yeah.
But, okay. So, the Hurricanes have not played in a week and a half. Okay, that's something we need to acknowledge here. And both of these teams, in this never-ending series between Buffalo and Montreal, both teams are hot as a pistol right now. So, if one of them, whoever wins and goes into this conference final against Carolina, I think, this playoffs, I'm going to say it, this playoffs has been not as good as last year. It's been a little boring compared to last year.
I personally am loving it.
Well, okay. For you and your team, it's been great, but the excitement of the games.
Though. Yeah.
But
I think it's entirely because of the format. It just makes for these bad matchups, and it makes for teams that should not be in the playoffs, literally wasting playoff spots.
Yes, 100%. And that's something I want to talk about that in the off season, because I feel like if we start talking about that now, we'll be here for another 30 minutes.
Yeah.
These teams in Buffalo and Montreal, incredible series. It's one of my top 3 series of the whole playoffs so far.
It's great. It has been awesome. The games have been great.
And I'll say this, as a guy who maybe didn't believe in Buffalo as much as a lot of other people, they are for sure America's team of hockey right now. They are so fun to watch. Shut up. It's true. Everybody is rallying behind them. Everybody loves this team, hasn't been in the playoffs for a long time, and here they are, maybe with a chance to make the conference final. Yeah. I mean, they whooped on Montreal last night.
Here's what I was gonna say though. Depending on who wins and moves on to face Carolina, we're going to see 2 very different series. If Buffalo moves on and plays Carolina, we're going to be seeing 6+ goal totals. But it's going to be 5-4, 5-6 games. Montreal moves on, it's going to be 1 goal games. Not necessarily trading shootout or shutouts, but it's going to be
I can
1-2
totally
final or whatever.
If it's Carolina, Montreal, it's going to be tons of successful penalty kills, good goaltending.
It's going to be an extremely defensive series.
But also, I think there's going to be the one game where it erupts too. I can totally
was going to say,
see that.
With Montreal, what's going to happen is we're going to see that if they play Carolina, it's going to be back and forth, defensive, whatever. And then you're just the goals that are going to come out of that are going to be all highlight reel goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to just totally
see it.
It's going to be how did that even happen? Or just these perfect passing, just like
tic-tac-toe
goals. Yeah.
And I can say this too. If for people, everybody who watches hockey, get ready for late nights, because whoever goes to play Carolina, I bet you overtime is going to be a big factor. Like, it's very, very, like, compared to the West, it's tight knit for this Eastern Conference final, whoever ends up going. Like, I mean, and maybe we're like selling this and Carolina's just going to dog on whoever, but like,
maybe. I think Carolina definitely, I mean, they having, winning 8 games is impressive. Absolutely. I'm not discounting that, but also winning 8 games against the teams that they did play makes it a little bit less impressive.
Yeah.
I don't think if they played any other, like 2 other teams, they would have gone undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, you lose games, like, that's fine. As long as you win the 4 you need to win.
Exactly.
As long as they're best of 7 for a reason. It's not
like how I started this series. Like, guys, is Carolina not playing for as long as they have going to affect them? Because we've seen this happen in the past. Like, this has happened so many times before. Like, and to Carolina specifically, they start hot in the playoffs. They make it to the conference final and, they win a series in 5 or 6 like they have the past couple years.
I think they've had more time off between games than between series than the entire length of the series that they have played.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, because it took maybe a week for each series that they played?
Yeah, I think the minimum on all of them was, because the first 2 games, there's 1 day in between.
They played every other night.
Then there's 2 games in between. So they had 4 days off total.
Yeah, it's 8 days for the series that they won.
Yeah.
So it's almost there. I mean, that's 16 total days. 8 days total that they're playing. All right. So they played a total of 8 days in the playoffs, 16 days total. And now they're at 12 days of rest. They're coming up on.
Yeah, well, plus the rest between the first and the second series too, because they had almost a week there too.
So gosh, dude, they've just been chilling. Like, literally this whole playoffs, they've kind of, and the positive side of this for Carolina fans is you have probably the healthiest team I think we've seen in the playoffs ever. Yeah, maybe ever.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, their guys are rested. They're ready to go.
That's for sure.
Carolina's going to come out swinging. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, I don't think they're going to be flat-footed and
if you're a betting man, bet on Carolina to win the first game. I mean, simple as that. Like, whichever team goes into Carolina, it's going to be rough for them. Like, I mean, because whoever wins between Buffalo and Montreal will get 2 days off, maybe a day.
No, I think they get a couple more than that. So the first game. Hold on, I can tell you. Actually, I think the schedule's released. Hold on.
Yeah, I may look into that too.
Thursday is when they would play. So 4 days. Or 3 days off. So the last game between Montreal and Buffalo is tomorrow.
Dang, so Carolina's going to get a fat 17 days off. That's 16.
Yeah, they'll have, yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, hey,
That's insane. Like, 2 weeks off is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
2+ weeks off is crazy.
And then whoever wins.
But hey, they earned it. They did earn it. Like, they did
earn it. Yeah.
They beat the teams. They won the games they needed to win. They didn't take any longer than they needed.
You and I right now are wondering, is it going to be a good thing or is it going to be a bad thing? And we'll come Thursday. Hey man, we'll see. We'll see come Thursday. I am so excited for these conference finals now. I'm getting amped up. But we got to enjoy what we can. We got to enjoy this last brutal game between these 2 teams. So, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be crazy. I think it's going to be electric.
It's like, who are you rooting for?
You already know.
Yeah, I do.
Canada. But no, honestly, I'm kind of torn because I really want both of these teams to make it. Like, I love Montreal and I love their players more than a lot of other teams. And I love Marty St. Louis. But Buffalo, once again, you just want them to go, man. You want them to keep going. It's hard for me.
I want Buffalo to win. That way it's an American Cup again. But
yeah, I mean.
But we'll also, see. I kind of want to watch the Avs play Buffalo. So
that'd be cool. Which team do you think would give Carolina the hardest time? I think Buffalo.
See, I don't necessarily see. Here's the way I'm thinking about it. I think Montreal would be a harder team for them to beat because I think Montreal, again, a little bit more defensively. Those games are going to be just a slog, versus Buffalo. are going to be in crazy, intense, like back and forth games that Carolina will probably come out of.
I think it's Buffalo, because Buffalo is like that itch that you can't scratch. You know what I mean by that? Like they look so down and out, and then they just come and like strike at you, man. Like,
yeah, that to be fair, that last game was crazy.
Yeah. Like, that's the saying. Montreal probably was like, we got this. Like, we're at home. We're feeling good. Yeah. We know we're better than these guys.
Although, to be fair, it was a good game for Buffalo, but also it wasn't a great game for Buffalo. Letting in 3 goals on 3 shots, kind of bad.
That was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. But, that's Buffalo. They have these goalies that they cycle through. They're like, he didn't do good. We'll just get the other guy in here.
Here on Icing the Puck, we can actually pronounce their names. So
true.
Yeah. ESPN, let me know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's going to be intense. Out of the 3, we'll get to the cup predictions next episode. We'll get to it. But yeah, man, I'm hyped up. I'm ready to go. I think we've talked about everything that needs to be talked about. This episode was fun. I feel like we haven't had any like side news to come to y'all with. It's just been gas for the playoffs. So
yeah. I mean, I'm ready for like after the playoffs too, like off season, because there's always all kinds of stories going on then too, which is awesome.
Free agency, man. Get ready for your boy, the best free agent coverage in the league, man. I'm on the spot.
Yeah, you're gonna be lighting up TikTok with all the
dude. I'm gonna be like Elliot Friedman again. Y'all should have seen my screen time during the trade deadline was 16 and a half hours a day. And that's, yes, I do have a full-time job. I do. Icing the Puck is my full-time job. Nah,
man.
But
you're like, sorry guys, I can't do what I'm paid for. I got to do my free podcast instead.
I don't make any money off of this, but I am starting trade school this summer, so like hopefully I could still lock it in. But I'm a busy guy, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But
maybe I'll have to pick up the slack and make some TikToks, bro.
You might have to.
We'll see.
But
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I think that's it for today. Listen, y'all, we're heading into conference final season. Everybody loves it. But we're coming to the end of the season. It is what it is. Let's enjoy what we got. We still got NHL hockey. It's great to be alive. Yeah. But hey, man, it's been great talking to you today, Jordan. I'm excited for next time we meet again. And we'll see y'all in the next one.
Yeah, I'm ready for this game tomorrow and ready for the game on Wednesday. And that's all I'm looking forward to. So
yes, sir.
Just more hockey. But yeah, we'll see everybody on the next one.